At this time, the next item would be recognizing any visitors who would care to address the City Council and Mayor. Yes, ma'am.
I've been working for the past. I'll come up there. My name is Lorinda Frula. I have been trying for the past 2 years to work to get softball and baseball offered to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in our school systems, in the public school systems, is what I was actually working on. It looks like the softball is kind of falling into place for us this year, but we were trying to do some fundraisers to hopefully have funds there next year to get the softball and baseball really off the ground. It's late in the season this year for softball, but we are actually trying to purchase some uniforms for these kids. We have 2 teams that have been chosen. Mr. Richie Kelly, which is the high school coach, is actually helping with this. We have what we have called is a North Franklin Junior Softball and a South Franklin Junior Softball. The North consists of Baskin and Crowell combined. The kids are combined. We had tryouts. We had 3 tryouts, I believe it was, and kids come out. Some kids that have never even played ball before, which is what I was hoping for. What I kept preaching that this would happen, and it did. South Franklin is Fort Necessity and Gilbert. And same thing there. We had some kids that come out. I mean, they're right-handed, and they, naturally they should catch with the glove on their left hand. These kids are out there with the glove on their right hand. But that's good because there's interest. Whether they play ball or not, the interest is there. And so what we're trying to do now is do things to raise money, to have the funds to support this. So it's not expensive to the children. A lot of them, if they have to come up with $50 for a uniform, they're not going to be able to play. Parents can't afford it. So I got to looking, what can we do to raise money? This is for our parish kids, the future of our parish, if I'm not mistaken. We have nothing in Franklin Parish for our children to do. We have no movie theater, no skating ring, no bowling alley, nothing. For our kids to do something, they have to go to Monroe, the closest place. Possibly Natchez. I think Natchez does have a movie theater, don't they? I think. When I was growing up, one of the biggest things that I looked forward to every year was the fair, which we no longer have. My kids don't know what the fair is because we've never had one here. They did manage to see one down in Gilbert a couple of years ago. We honestly didn't realize Gilbert has that fair every year. We've been to it one time. They see the big fair in Monroe. I got 2 kids, and actually I have 3 kids because I have a stepdaughter also. I can't afford to carry all 3 of my kids to the fair in Monroe. I've gotten with this little fair that comes to Gilbert, and they actually do this. It's a fundraiser. They bring their equipment, and you get a percentage of what they take in. It's not a whole lot. I think the percentage is like 15% of what they take in, and then for each booth that they have, you get like $10. But if it's not but $10 that we get, it's $10 more than we had yesterday. It's $10 towards a uniform, or $10 towards some balls, something. It's something for our kids. It's family oriented. That every child and their parent could go to it. And what we need is the approval from the city to actually make this happen. They have an opening in October that we could possibly have it to have funds there then for next spring for softball and baseball, if we could make this happen. We have the municipal park at the end of town where we used to have the fair when I was growing up. In my opinion, it's a perfect place to have it. All these rides are self-contained. They have generators that run the rides. All they need is a place to set up. The only electricity that they ask for is for their campers so that they can live the few days that they're here, whether we do it a week or 3 days, whatever. They said they can make it as big as we want or as small as we want. So basically, I'm asking y'all to help me get this for our kids.
thank you so very much, for taking your time out to visit with us this evening. I just want to share with you that I do have an appointment tomorrow to speak with a fair owner that's located in Arkansas. They have a pretty large fair, and we can use any size that would fit into to our community. What I wanted to do was meet with them and then bring back to the council and to see if this is something that we could bring into our community. I know that there's outcries. It's a very few days that I've been there that I haven't been confronted with someone, when we're going to bring a fair back. Well, I think that that's important. I think the people have spoke that that's something that they want, and it's something that I'm willing to go out and try to secure. I would have no objections with you being present when we meet with them tomorrow. If you get with my secretary and find out exactly what time that appointment is scheduled for, I would be honored if you were there. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
Yes. Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Monye Malone. I've lived here the majority of my life. I've seen this town fall and I've seen it rise. And I've seen it mingle in between. We all say that we love this town. We love this city. We love our electoral people. Your electors are crying out for help. How can you put a puzzle together without the pieces? You can't fight a war without knowing what you're fighting for. Then you can't fight a war again without having the ammunition to fight with. These officers, I commend them. They put their life on the line 1,000%. We, as parents and citizens, don't have no business taking upon ourselves to protect our families when it's their job to do. But it's not enough of them to do it. We need to get some kind of money here. It's feasible to do. We can get grants. We can come up with a millage tax. That's no problem. We need to get some here to help our children in school, out of school, or wherever in this community. If we say we are part of this community, we love it, let's show it. Stop bickering about things that don't make any sense. Our children are being left behind. We say we love our children, we want to raise them to do this, to do that. What are we showing them? We don't care about them. When they get in trouble, then we want to reach back and say, come here. No. Put them in your arms. Show them love. Show them guidance. That's what we put you all in your places to do. And that's what we entrust y'all to do. Think about that and thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. Is there anyone else who would like to? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to say something real quick while she's getting up.
Just like the young man,
Just as soon as you finish, I'm sorry.
just like the young man said, my name is Roosevelt Grant, and this is home. And I hate to have to resort to the Franklin Sun of information that can be misconstrued and misleading in a lot of ways. But looking at recent events, we know that police officers have died in the line of duty. But just like the young man said, and when you look at situations, you got to look at both sides of it. These guys need a raise, true enough. But is the city financially able to do so? And if not, these people need to get together and find a way feasible for them to do it. If the money is there, I commend these guys, they need it. If the money is not there, they need to find a solution. And then the problem too is we hear about certain issues dividing the community. We are grown folks. You hear people on news talking about grown folks need to handle grown folks' business. You know, we need to put away child's play. You know, when it comes to business about progressing Winsboro forward, we need to do so. Because the Franklin Sun is by way of internet. And when I get calls from people out of town, out of state, laughing at what's going on here in Winsboro, that's a mockery to all of us. Not just them, us too. We need to push them to push other issues. But the thing is, bottom line, there's a communication gap somewhere. And hopefully that communication gap will close. And like I said, I commend Lester and his staff and all the wonderful jobs they're doing. I know these guys need a raise because when you see officers dying in a line of duty, there's no price you can put on a person's life. But the city has to find a way financially if they can, and if not, we need to move forward. Everybody need a raise. I'm quite sure y'all need raises, but can you afford it? Can businesses right now afford it? And like the young lady said about rumors in the community, the mayor, city council, y'all need to be on one accord. This division is hurting the city. Like I said, I'm tired of phone calls from out of town, out of state. Man, I read this in the newspaper. What's going on in Winsboro? It's time out, folks. It's time out.
I wanted to take just a minute to give a brief update on the dog situation. We continue to work on that every day. We've posted pictures around town, and we continue to try to save the lives of the little dogs. As you're aware, I got involved with this situation the first part of September of last year, and for several months, no dogs had to be transported to West Monroe to be euthanized. However, we now are at a point where we are overwhelmed with dogs again, and some have lately had to be euthanized. I'm requesting from the council that you approve a situation, open the pens, so that it would take some of the burden off of some of us who are trying to foster them, trying to stay ahead of Russell and Robert when they are doing their job to pick up the dogs to control the animal population. But it would be very helpful if we could have office hours so that at certain parts, from 11 to 1 every day, or on Saturdays, or on Friday afternoon, or all of the above, I would vote for. But sometime on a routine basis to have the pens accessible to the public, because I use my employees as an example. It's completely impossible for them to request from their supervisor to clock out to go look at a dog that they might possibly want to adopt. And so to have it to where it's open to people who work 7 to 5, and next week will be 7 to 6, that would be very helpful for us to continue to make progress in saving the animals. And I thank you, Russell and Robert, when you're on duty, for working with us and helping us, making the pens accessible to those of us who have been approved to foster the animals. We appreciate the cooperation.
Thank you, Mr. Turnbull. That is something that we can do. That we can definitely work at that. We will get together and come up with some hours that people will be allowed to come up and inspect the shelter.
And if we could do it on a Saturday, even there are people who would volunteer to do that. If we could sign a waiver to the city that,
we'll look at that possibility.
Responsible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Is there anyone else?